Welcome to Week and Geek, your new comics preview for April 23rd. I'm Mike Ortiz.
And I'm the Chris Brown.
What do you got?
A really big stack.
Big stack this week.
It's quite a few books this week, and trying a couple of new things too. Even though it is a big week, and I haven't read half the things that are already in my stack. So first up, I've got Daredevil. This is issue number 2. Daredevil is now on the West Coast. He has left the East Coast behind him. They're still following the story. I mean, they just slapped a number 1 on it and put him somewhere new. It's not necessarily that it's a complete overhaul and reboot of Daredevil and ignoring the things that went before. It looks like, is this the Shroud is going to be involved here? At least that's what it looks like. So I don't know. This has been pretty good. I think Mark Waid's been doing a heck of a job with it. I really like the art. I mean, is this Samney still on this one? Kind of looks like it. But it's got what do we got there? Chris Samney and Mark Waid, storytellers. So I imagine he's doing the art then because Javier Rodriguez gets a color credit, no one else for art. But yeah, good stuff there, and I'm liking that. Next up, we've got, which would go right along with it there, we've got the all-new Marvel Now Elektra number 1. This is written by someone I don't think I'm familiar with. Looks like the name on the front is Blackman. I don't know who that is. The artwork looks kind of interesting. You know, I'm always willing to kind of give Elektra a shot. I mean, but Elektra is kind of one of those characters also that to me is kind of like the Punisher. Like, if you don't have a good grasp on the character as a writer, it's going to completely fall apart. Is she good? Is she bad? What are you doing with her? Which
very often she plays better in other people's books than her own.
Agreed. So we shall see, but the artwork looks okay. It looks different.
Great artwork.
Yeah, it looks very different than to your typical comic art, but looks cool. And there we go. W. Hayden Blackman and Michael Del Mundo. So willing to give that a shot.
Well, those people complaining that Marvel and DC never give new guys a shot. There's two guys I never heard of.
Yeah, right, exactly. So they got their foot in the door somehow. Next, I've got All New Invaders. This is part 4 of Gods and Soldiers. This has been a pretty cool story. This is, essentially got the Kree are trying to get a device that the Nazis were using to control the gods. You got, I believe it was at the end of the 3rd issue, they kind of come to the conclusion that, the Norse gods already, the Asgardians, that's old news. Yeah. That doesn't work on us anymore anyway. And they're like, oh, okay, so you got something that isn't going to work. And they're like, no, it works on gods. They may have figured it out, but not everyone has. So then they got another, thing kind of coming. So kind of cool stuff. I dig what they're doing so far. I like James Robinson as a writer, and this is sort of in his wheelhouse, taking old classic characters. But he's writing them in the present day, which is what's more appealing to me. I wouldn't want to read World War II stories. That's just
I like the World War II stories.
Yeah. They're all right if you're flashing back. But if it was just a book about fighting World War II, well, they have to win every time, right? Because World War II's over.
Oh.
And we didn't.
They win every time anyway.
Yeah. Next up, I've got, I'm going to switch it up here, stick with my Marvels. Now, this is a book here that I'm not caught up on. I believe it's going to be 5 parts. So at this point, I might as well just wait and catch up when it's all said and done. This is George Romero's Empire of the Dead. This is Romero writing, Alex Maleev doing the art, some really cool stuff, but it's kind of the next evolution of the zombies, and it's got vampires. So it's zombies and vampires. Apparently that's where it ends up. It's, what is this? Max Brooks was doing the same thing with Extinction Parade.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, zombies and vampires is where it goes next. I don't know when the werewolves figure their way in. But
2 great tastes taste great together.
Yeah, you got it. So next up, we've got a Valiant title here. This is Harbinger number 22. They are promoting Death of a Renegade, Part 1. So, unlike the Marvel and DC, who hype up for months and get the press about killing a character that we already know is going to die, they apparently are going to tell a longer story about that character dying and aren't necessarily going to tell us who yet. Torque dies in the original series. That was a major death, and in the cover, there was a cover that was very similar. So I don't know who they're going to kill. Frankly, I don't want to know. I want to read the story, and I hope it advances the story. Yeah. And that's the way Valiant always was in the original run. And when they did that, the death of Torque, it was a big deal. He had, they just had a son who they had to send to the future. Some stuff happened, and Torque dies a hero. But I don't know that that's what they're going to do here. But I'm sure it'll be interesting. Next, we've got, this is part 5 of 8 of the Midas Flesh. This is just a weird book that I'm enjoying. Some outer space sci-fi shenanigans involving King Midas and an Earth covered in gold, and sort of a federation of planets, so to speak, that have sort of taken over everything. And we don't really know why it is that they've done a nice job of weaving the myth of King Midas into this other myth that they're doing. And for whatever reason, no one knows what the biological weapon was that took out Earth. They're realizing it was an individual, and they had a thumb there for a while that they were using to touch stuff. But they're weaving the stories together pretty well as to, okay, that's the thing, and that was always off limits, and we didn't know why, and everyone wanted to forget about it. But here it is, and we're going to go get some stuff, and it's kind of neat. I like it. Mm-hmm. I'm having fun with it. Next, I've got, this is Letter 44, issue number 6. This is by Charles Soule. Great stuff. I really like what he's doing. In the previous issue, they were kind of stuck on they touched that asteroid and kind of ended up inside of it. Then they realized some other things were going on, and their captain kind of goes in and tells them, just get out of here. Go. Get back. You've got to do this and you've got to do that. He's weaving a really neat story about our astronauts in space who are trying to figure out what's going on with this craft, on the other side of the moon. And then also dealing with the previous president and the current president and what the agendas are about this whole this whole possible invasion of Earth. It's a cool story. Charles Soule does some great writing. I really enjoy that book. Here's another book, Ghosted, Josh Williamson, that I'm behind on. But I liked the idea of mixing the heist with ghosts, and so kind of almost like a paranormal Thief of Thieves to some degree, and I like it. I'm behind on this second story arc, but I liked the first, and I'm looking forward to getting caught up. I guess I'm just going to have to build myself a stack and power through it. Then we've got The Fuse. This is by Anthony Johnston and Justin Greenwood. Anthony Johnston's also doing Umbral, which I really like, and he did Wasteland. This is about a kind of like a space station and a cop that ends up there. I haven't read the second issue. Really liked the first issue. But this is kind of a neat idea, and I like what they're doing. It kind of reminded me a little bit of Alienation, a little bit with the alien and then the cop. But it wasn't the odd one. Was the cop who's chosen to be on the space station where no one else wants to be. Everyone else kind of ends up there for whatever reason because they've got nowhere else to go. And he's chosen to be there for whatever reason. And so he's the odd man out to some degree, because why would you choose to be stuck on the space station? Dead Body Road. This, I'm finding out now this is only going to be 6 issues. This was, Justin Jordan is the writer. Matteo Scalera is the penciler. Another one I'm behind on, but I'm not giving up on this one. This is one I'm going to read when it's all said and done, because I really like Justin Jordan's writing. I mean, I haven't read a lot of the stuff that he's done with DC, isn't he writing one of the Lantern books?
He's writing Green Lantern New Guardians.
Okay, which is one you really like, right? But I liked a lot of just his creator-owned stuff. I liked that Luther Strode, and the art work here, Matteo Scalera is doing a great job. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to finally catching up on this one. Looks like a gritty crime story. Kind of takes place, looks like quite a bit in the desert. You got bikers and all kinds of shenanigans. Saviors. Here's my guy James Robinson. This is Saviors number 4. This is kind of working on almost like a 3-color sort of thing, very similar to, what was it, Casanova, the way they were working their limited color spectrum. Yep. But this is also jumping around like different colors per issue, it seems. And it's kind of a stoner gets involved in a weird alien plot, and kind of reminds me of almost Dead Alive, or not Dead Alive. What's the Roddy Piper movie?
Oh, what is that movie called?
See, I went and screwed it up by saying Dead Alive.
Right.
Or it is Dead Alive.
Keep going, I'll look it up.
So, but anyway, it kind of reminds me of that. They live. There you go. They live with pot instead of bubble gum.
I'm here to smoke a doob and kick ass.
Yeah, I'm almost out of dupes. Okay. Next, I've got Sheltered. This is issue number 8. I like this book. I'm finally at the point where it's beyond the what looked like the battle royale kind of thing, kids killing adults and kids, and there's a plot of a rather psychotic teenager who has taken out all the parents, all the adults. They're basically it's this shelter where they were going to live when the apocalypse comes, and they had so many rations and so much food, and they were ready. And then this kid feels like that there wasn't enough, and he needed to do things the way he needed to, and he's lying to everyone else. There was an order for some solar panels, and unfortunately, some innocent people get woven into the plot when they're just trying to make a delivery. Now there's a guy out in the woods that he doesn't know what the heck's going on. It's a really neat story, and I like where they're going with this. This is what Eddie Brisson is doing the writing. Johnny Christmas is doing the illustrations, I guess. Good stuff. I dig it.
Cool.
Now we've got this is the bulk of my stack, the end of the bulk of my stack, aside from my top pick. This is the end of The Walking Dead, issue number 126. Mm-hmm. Do you read The Walking Dead? Mm-hmm. I'd like to do a quick review of this, and I don't want to spoil, so you jump ahead of me if you're going to do that. Jump ahead if you're reading this. I don't want to spoil anybody's fun, but really interesting stuff. The last issue, Rick comes out. He explains to Negan that, you're screwing everything up. We have a plan. We can live a better life. We've managed to outlive, all of us who are standing here now have managed to figure out how to live beyond the zombies. We've got that nailed. We've got communities. We've got everything. And then we're killing each other because you want to take half of our supplies? You want half our supplies? Sure. Go knit me a sweater. Go get me anything. Go do something. Participate. Get involved. Let us all live. There's no reason for you to be a jackass. And Negan stops and goes, you're right. So we could build roads. We could totally work together. We could. So you're coming around to my way of thinking. I think I am. Good. Rick stabs him in the neck. So, all right then. So now what? Did they kill Negan? Well, no. But Rick has made a very important point. Now you're my prisoner. We can save you, but all you guys need to stand down. Someone else has kind of stepped into place, and we're now seeing an aspect of The Walking Dead that we've not gotten to yet. I mean, it's always been the bad guys attack and they kill because you kill or be killed. Well, in a civilized society, you just can't be killing people if everyone else is going to be civilized. What do you got to do? You got to make an example of the bad guy. And they're very much going to make an example of Negan. And I find it interesting, the approach that they're taking. I mean, I'm not going to completely spoil any fun, and because those of you that are like, I don't care about a spoiler, well, you do, and I'm not going to give you everything. Mm-hmm. But it's interesting the conclusion they've come to end this war. And everything isn't done. I mean, again, Negan's not dead. The saviors are still out there. They now have someone who's going to step up and try and lead their community, because you always got to have someone in place, whether it's whether you call him a politician or whatever, you got to have someone in place and kind of leading and making sure things run smoothly. And really interesting conclusion to this story. And I thought it was pretty well done, and I'm curious to see where it's going to go next, because I wasn't expecting that last page. Cool. What do you got?
I'm going to start off with the Manhattan Projects, number 20. I am an issue behind on this.
Okay.
But in just flipping through this, there's a couple of things. One, it looks like we've got the Albert Einstein that we've been seeing all this time was actually an evil Albert Einstein from an alternate dimension.
Right.
This issue has the return of our Albert Einstein.
Interesting.
And it looks like maybe a little bit of an explanation as to what he was doing in that alternate reality.
All right.
The title of this issue is Einstein the Barbarian. So yeah, that should be enough. We've got Einstein the Barbarian. We've got multiple Einsteins. And then, we get back to the story that we had going with all that. And it looks like now there's going to be two Einsteins running around. Cool stuff. Einstein the Barbarian. You can't beat that. Next up, Batman Eternal. I actually did get caught up, because I know this is a dangerous one. It's a weekly book. Basically, people are attempting to frame Commissioner Gordon.
Okay.
For some serious wrongdoings. And at least that's where it's going so far. This is a weekly book, so the story is going to unfold very slowly. Everybody, obviously is kind of turning on Gordon. Even Gordon is kind of thinking he's responsible. I won't spoil what happened, but a mistake on his part leads to some very serious destruction in Gotham. And even Gordon is saying, oh, well, maybe I was tired and things like that. Of course, Batman knows that's crap, and that someone's setting Gordon up, obviously.
Sure.
We also got the return of of a character that from the early days of Batman that now is, I guess, being reincorporated in from a fan favorite storyline. I won't say who because that's kind of the cliffhanger at the end of last issue. But overall, this has been a pretty good book. I mean, unfortunately, weekly books are a tough sell because they do unfold very slowly. Managing the creative teams is always kind of a problem. They did a great job with 52, not so great with Countdown.
Right.
I didn't even really continue with Trinity. I thought the Brightest Day was pretty good. People said the Justice League thing was pretty good. Those were bi-weekly. So we'll see how a single character or really a single family is going to sustain this over a long period of time. But so far, 2 issues in, it's been pretty solid.
Cool.
Next up, we've got Larfleeze number 9. This is featuring Nort.
10.
10, I'm sorry.
That's an amazing cover, though.
Yes, Nort. I love Nort.
Me too.
And, J.M. DeMatteis and Keith Giffen created Nort in Justice League International many years ago. If you're going to be doing a comedy Green Lantern book, it only makes sense to have the funniest Green Lantern ever to show up.
Yes.
We've got Nort going up against those, or rather Larfleeze going up against those kind of celestial godlike creatures, and actually kicking their butt pretty thoroughly too. He's quite efficient at causing mayhem, and then meanwhile, one of the worlds that Larfleeze had kind of messed around with, they sent out a call for help for a Green Lantern, and they got Nort, which is actually kind of worse than not getting any help at all. But this book is ending soon, which is too bad. It's been a lot of fun, but at least we're going to get a good maybe 11, 12 issues of Green Lantern comedy. Next up, we've got Superman number 30. This is another one where I'm an issue behind. This is all of these Supermans are prelude to Doomed, which is going to be starting up soon. It looks like Superman Doomed is on sale next week. So this is really just going to be the last bits of that. It looks like some sort of weird kryptonite creature or the Eradicator or something. But I don't know what's going on in this book either.
They're really just working up to John Romita Jr.
There's a lot of. It looks like they're building up towards Doomed because that's a big deal and it's a crossover, and then Jeff Johns and John Romita Jr. So these guys are placeholders and they know it, and they just can't mess things up too much. Next up, Red Lanterns number 30. This is Charles Soule and James Calafiore. As I've mentioned many times, this has become a great book. The addition of Supergirl has actually even made it better.
Okay.
Now the Red Lanterns, I mean, they're in charge of Sector 2814. The Green Lanterns are no longer allowed in this sector except for one Lantern. I think Simon Baz is allowed to be on Earth. But other than that, they're running the show in this sector, and they're going out, and they're like the Punisher. They're good guys, but they're doing horrible, terrible things, but they're doing them to bad people, so it's not that bad. They're enforcing their own kind of justice, but Atrocitus is out there.
Like the Dexter of superheroes?
Dexter. Well, yeah. Actually,
speaking of which...
Dexstar. Great. We've got Dexstar, the Rage Kitty, front and center. He's one of my favorites, and he's been palling around with Atrocitus. And it looks like we've got...
created by Shane Davis, I think.
Really?
I think so.
Wow, yeah. It was in that Rage of the Red Lanterns one-shot. But this has been good stuff. The Lantern books have just had a serious renaissance. That actually brings me to The Flash, number 30. Now, I'm not a big fan of The Flash. I picked it up when the new 52 started and dropped it fairly quickly. But this has got Robert Venditti and Van Jensen, who were creators on the new Green Lantern creators.
Oh, okay.
So they brought some really, really nice new take to the character in that book. I think they did a great job, so I'm willing to give them a shot as they take over this new book. How are they going to kind of reimagine things? I don't know. I know nothing about this other than those guys who've done a great job on Green Lantern, so we're going to give them a shot on The Flash. I know this is going to be tying into the return of Wally West and the Flash annual coming up, so I'm going to give these guys a shot.
Cool. Now, was that Wally at the end there? I saw the kind of blue costume.
That is not. That actually, there was some question about whether or not that was Wally. It actually looks like it's a Barry from the future.
Oh, okay.
And it actually, it's been hard to tell because the drawings have been kind of weird, but it actually looks like Wally West may be black.
That's what I'm hearing, yeah.
So, quite a change for that character.
That's fine. I don't have a problem with that.
No problem with that. That's going to make some people very mad, and their anger will actually make me very happy. Next up, we've got Justice League United #0. This was going to be Justice League Canada,
right?
Which I thought would have been a lot more fun, but I get it. This is a little bit more international name and probably a little less funny. Still got a little Canadian flag in the
because they all go to Canada, right?
Yeah, this is instead of Justice League America, the Justice League America book I think is done.
Okay.
And this is replacing it, falling out of Forever Evil. So we've
got
the Martian Manhunter
discovers poutine.
I guess so. We don't have Oreos in the new 52. He's addicted to poutine. But it looks like we've got Animal Man, and this is written by Jeff Lemire. So Jeff Lemire ended the Animal Man book. He kind of finished what he wanted to do on Animal Man and brought the character over here to continue his story here. So it looks kind of like a new 52 Adam Strange. And Green Arrow. Animal Man, Stargirl, Supergirl. Is that
Detective Chimp, or is it just a monkey?
I was hoping it was Detective Chimp, but he's standing next to Animal Man, who's got an owl and a frog. So that should
be Detective Chimp.
That's maybe he will become Detective Chimp. This is the new 52 is bringing kind of new versions of the characters. We've also got a new character, a Native American woman, who we're getting introduced to in this book. So I've been enjoying the Justice League stuff overall. I love Mike McKone's artwork. I haven't read a lot of Jeff Lemire stuff. I liked what he did on Animal Man at first, but when it got tied into Swamp Thing, I think they both got kind of bogged down. But everybody seems to really like his superhero work a lot. So I'm going to give it a shot. Next up, something that was almost my top pick.
Okay.
Really, really close. This is Original Sin #0. This is Mark Waid and Jim Chung. Jim Chung is a fantastic artist. I'll buy anything he does. This is the prelude, the 0 issue to Marvel's new Original Sin miniseries. Basically, it doesn't happen in here, but if you've been paying any attention at all, you know that the basic premise is someone kills the Watcher, and essentially now all the secrets that the Watcher knows are going to be revealed, and everyone's original sin is going to be coming out. So all of the dark corners of the Marvel Universe that only the Watcher has seen, now somebody else knows what's going on, and we'll be revealing some horrible secrets about our heroes. Or not. We don't really know how this is going to go. This could all be BS. But in any event, Mark Waid, it's weird that I don't know why Jason Aaron's writing the actual book.
Okay.
So why Mark Waid is writing the 0 issue, I have no idea, unless it was well underway and they realized they needed some prologue or they needed some setup. Or they just figured they needed another issue. Why not? But in any event, I don't care. I don't care who's writing this. Jim Chung's drawing it.
Jim Chung drawing Watcher sounds fine by me.
Yeah, and Mark Waid, obviously a great writer. Mark Waid even wrote the intro to Avengers vs. X-Men. There was like a digital comic.
Okay.
So I don't know why they keep getting him to start it and then hand it off. I don't know. Maybe they just figure Mark Waid's good at sort of setting the table for someone else's feast. But still, good stuff. I'm looking forward to that. Next up, Guardians of the Galaxy #14. This is a double-sized anniversary issue. I don't know how.
It's issue 14.
14, maybe it's years or something. I don't know. It doesn't matter. This has been a solid book. We've got Brian Michael Bendis, and we've got Nick Bradshaw from Wolverine and the X-Men, who did a fantastic job on that book. I really, really enjoyed what he was doing there. And it looks like here we've got... it's been a while since one of these came out, maybe? I don't know. And the last time I remember...
It was all tied into the Jean Grey stuff.
It was the Jean Grey thing. So this is the first thing after that. And it looks like Star-Lord is now wearing his movie costume. And it looks like Venom is now part of the team. Which at first sounds really dumb until you realize the symbiote is actually an alien.
Right.
And apparently it looks like the Avengers put Venom on the team so that they have a human... that they have contact with, the way Iron Man was on the team for a while.
All right.
Plus, I guess Venom's book probably is getting canceled or has been canceled, and they got to do something with the character because he's going to get a movie soon. So next up, we've got the Fantastic Four. I've really been enjoying this book. It's only been 2 issues. We're dealing with something that's going to destroy the team, something that's going to break them up, someone's lost their powers already. All stuff that the Fantastic Four have been through a million times, and some sort of an invasion from the negative zone. Yet somehow James Robinson makes it kind of fresh.
Yes.
Even though this has happened so many times, the tone is good, the artwork is fantastic. It's got a seriousness that makes it a little bit different from the Fraction stuff, but not kind of the really dry seriousness that Hickman did. So yeah, James Robinson's really found a unique voice that is consistent with the Fantastic Four. I love the new costumes.
I do too.
I think they look great. You know, a lot of people always complain when costumes change. The FF's costume has been changing pretty regularly since like the mid '80s.
Right.
So I got no beef with that. Really great stuff. I love the Fantastic Four, as I've mentioned many times. Ooh, it looks like we're going to get the return of the Frightful Four, which is always a lot of fun. So yeah, the Fantastic Four really doing a great job on this book. And again, this was almost my top pick because this is one that every week I'm just excited to read because it's just so nice getting a Fantastic Four book this good.
Yeah, I've been enjoying it too. It is fun. Well, this brings me to the top of my stack here, kind of an unusual one, but I rather enjoy the Eltingville Club. Mm-hmm. We've got, I believe this is just a one-shot. I don't think it's continued at all. Now, admittedly, I never really read Eltingville in the issues of Dork. Looks like there isn't a next issue coming in May. I never read it when it was in Dork and that sort of stuff, but I did get a chance to watch that pilot for Cartoon Network, which really I really liked. It had the theme song was by the Aquabats, which was my introduction to the Aquabats all those years ago, and it's about a group of nerds, and you know they've got a club, and each of them kind of is secretary of one aspect of their nerddom. And they don't really seem to like each other very much, and they're not particularly likable. But it is very interesting.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in there that reads a little too true.
Yes.
Sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's kind of a great send up of the culture and really fun stuff. And it's nice to have an Eltingville. You know, we haven't had one of these in a while. We haven't seen anything from the Eltingville Club in quite some time. I really think it's unfortunate. I wish they could revive that cartoon because I think it would survive today.
Oh, yeah.
It didn't 10 years ago when they tried it. It just didn't fly. Wrong. Yeah, but now it would totally fly.
It was the Big Bang Theory years before. And,
yes.
If you could, I don't know if it's available, on Netflix or if it's on YouTube or something, but if you haven't seen it, check it out.
Cartoon Network just put all their stuff back up, so maybe they've got their odd pilots up there too. But yeah, go back and try and see if you can find it because it was pretty fantastic. Find it somehow.
Find someone who's got a copy. It was really entertaining. Next, or for me, my top spot. There were a lot of things that could have been the top spot this week.
A lot of good books.
A lot of good books. A lot of new launches. But I've always got a soft spot for this series. It's Secret Origins. From DC Comics. This is number 1. And basically Secret Origins is just what it says. Well, not really secret necessarily. That's just a nice thing. But these are going to be origins of the different characters. This one features the origin of Superman, Robin, and Supergirl. So they're short.
Which Robin?
That's a good question. We'll find out when I get to it, I guess. Let's see. It's Dick Grayson.
Okay.
At least Dick Grayson is the lead character here. Yeah, okay, so this is the origin of
Dick Grayson. He becomes Nightwing, who will eventually just become Grayson, the spy.
Well, first Robin, then Nightwing.
Oh, then Robin, then...
Well, did he become Batman? I think he becomes Batman at some point, because in the New 52... as I was saying before the battery ran out, Secret Origins number 1, my top pick, Greg Pak, who's doing some really good stuff at DC these days. Kyle Higgins, Tony Bedard, Lee Weeks, Doug Mahnke, and Paulo Sequeira. Well, Lee Weeks doing the Superman stuff.
I like his art.
So basically, this is just for, a lot of people have complained that we don't know what is or isn't in canon anymore with the New 52. They did those villain issues, they did those Zero issues, all just sort of filling in the gaps. They've been doing that a lot, and I think this just adds to that. So now if you've got questions as to the origin of Robin, which I'm sure some people have because it clearly must have changed from where it was before. And Supergirl. Superman's origin they've covered pretty well, but I think every time they launch a new Secret Origins series, they start with Superman.
Sure.
He's Superman.
Right.
He's the first, and you got to get that in there. So this is an ongoing. Every issue is going to have different characters by different creators. Some will probably be cool, some will probably be lame, but overall, I like origin stories, especially when they're characters that I like and I'm interested in, and we get to see how these new origins are different from what we had before. So I've always loved this series, going back to when they launched it after the Crisis for much the same reason.
Okay.
So that people who didn't know or wanted to know what was in canon and what wasn't. This will answer that for some things until they change it, because nothing's ever permanent.
Well, right.
You really got to get used to that.
It's the origin for now until they get an original origin, like a 0 year or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I guess they're not going to need to do a Batman in here. They'll just refer to.
Well, then it'd be -1 year.
Yes.
And they're just going to go into the womb.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll. Yeah, Secret Origins.
Lots of great titles this week. Lots of things that could be the #1 pick. So I guess you'll have to decide what your #1 pick is. Mm-hmm. And that is your Week in Geek.